If you're a real estate agent and you want to get more contracts accepted, you want to become better at contract writing, and you want to get better at negotiating offers, today's video will help you as we cover the time limit of the offer. This section is very commonly messed up by real estate agents, and it can actually get you in a lot of legal trouble. So today, let's go over what is the time limit of an offer, and I want to share with you a very, very complex situation that I recently faced this week. Now, what is the time limit of the offer? We're going to start really granular and work up to more complex of a situation. The time limit of the offer. Basically, I'm working with a buyer. They want to submit an offer on a house for sale. We want to write up this offer. Well, we want to include a time limit on this offer. Basically, within this time limit, we want to know, does the seller accept this, counter, or reject? Because if we don't hear within that time limit, this offer automatically terminates, it's dead. If you don't hear within that time frame or people sign after the fact, then it's dead. So that's very, very key because a lot of agents get this messed up. Now, time limit of the offer. What do I typically see as a broker? Well, seeing close to 600 deals last year. Time limit of the offer. I see a lot of agents. If today is 4:50 p.m. on the 15th, I see a lot of agents use a 24 to 48 hour time frame. So you would put 4:51 p.m. on the 16th day of February 2023, or 4:51 p.m. on the 17th day of February 2023. Now, why do I share this with you? Well, this week, in fact, we actually ran into an issue with this, and we're going to start getting a little bit more complex with this. But an agent, for example, put 5:10 p.m. on the current day that this offer was made. The client signed this offer at 4:51 p.m. and she immediately emailed it over to us. That means we had 19 minutes as the seller to decide, do you want to accept it, counter it, or reject? They couldn't even get to their computer fast enough because they were eating. That's the important thing to remember, is when you put in a time limit, be reasonable. Other clients have families, they have full-time jobs, they might be out to eat, they could be on vacation, they might want to sleep on it overnight. So you can become a better agent, and more agents will want to work with you if you work towards a more fair offer or a more fair time limit of the offer. If you rush everybody, they're going to know you as kind of the bulldog agent and not want to do a deal with you. So if you put an hour from now on this time limit, it's not really fair. Think about it. So put 24 hours, 48 hours, perfectly fine. Now, we're going to get really complex really fast, so hold with me on this time limit of the offer. But here's where a lot of agents face a lot of legal liability. Time limit of the offer. Another situation, this was the same situation earlier this week. The first time they submitted an offer, they put 3 p.m., their client signed at 4:30, and they emailed it over to us. Now, I immediately said, you're going to have to submit a new offer. This is dead. And they said, oh, just sign it. It's fine. Now, if you just go based on that, you expose yourself to a lot of liability. What happens if you went ahead, they put 3 o'clock, buyer signed at 4:30, you said, I'll take their word for it, and the seller signs at 4:45, you send it over, everybody thinks we have a bound contract. How can you get in trouble? Well, this contract was terminated. It was already dead before it was already emailed over. And what some clients can do is they might wait a couple days, talk to an attorney would love to collect those fees and eat this contract alive because it wasn't even valid. It was dead on arrival. So you do not want that. If you hear that, oh, it's fine, just sign it. Run the other way. Do things the right way. It doesn't matter if the agent tells you I've been doing this 30 years, 20 years, I'm a broker. If you know, based on your training, this offer is terminated, it's dead, there's no point in my client signing after the fact and sending it back to you, don't do it. Now, what's solutions to that if you see a dead offer? We told them to just write and submit a fresh offer for us, extending this. And that's where the next offer came in with 5:10 p.m. and they signed at 4:59 p.m. and we had 19 minutes to decide to accept it, counter it, reject. Well, one thing you could do if you're a buyer's agent and this is about to run out, there's a couple things you could do. One is you could draft up a whole new offer, moving this later in the, like tomorrow or the following day, have your client resend it, send it over, and withdraw the first offer. The second thing you could do, as long as there's still time, as long as there's still sand in that hourglass, is you could send over an addendum. You can have your buyer sign an addendum that says the buyer agrees to extend the time limit of acceptance until, and then put, for example, 4:54 on February 16th, 2023. So you could do that, and then if the seller wants to accept the offer, they could sign the addendum and this contract, and then you're good to go. Now, another pitfall for real estate agents, and this is getting really into the weeds, is on that same situation earlier this week. 5:10 p.m., 4:59, they sent it over, it's now 5:30, this is dead, and they're telling us to just sign this offer. No. Well, they said, do an amendment, and just you amend it and put on the amendment, all parties agreed to move the time limit of the offer until 4:51 p.m. on February 16th, 2023. Now, that can sound like a good idea, but here's the problem with even that. Because this is dead already, when we create an amendment and we think this is legally valid, guess what? We're almost now practicing law. We are telling our clients, oh yeah, just sign this amendment and you're good, you have a bound and valid contract. No, we are not attorneys. And when I've talked to several attorneys, several title companies, several brokers, it all has been mixed results as far as let's sign this after it's dead, but we all signed an amendment after the fact. Basically, I've heard time and time again, that would just come down to the interpretation of a judge. And you don't want that. You don't want your fate, your real estate license in the hands of a third party based on an amendment you thought was okay. Don't do it. I don't want subjectivity. I don't want room for error. Just do a whole new offer. If this has expired, this is dead. Do a new one. The amendment, it's not a problem until it's a problem, but I'd rather not have something up in the air that if a judge looks at it, it's 50-50 which way they go. So don't do it. But this today's video is to help you understand why the time limit of the offer is very, very important. Again, remember, it's almost like that hourglass with the sand. You make this offer, you create a time limit, you're flipping that sand hourglass over, and that starts the clock. Now, down here, if your client checks counters and signs and they create a counter offer, that counter offer form will have a brand new time limit of the offer. So as long as the seller marks counters and signs before this time limit of the offer expires, they are starting with a fresh counter. They're starting their own hourglass and turning it over and handing it back to the buyer and saying, hey, we're going to turn this hourglass over, this fresh counter, send it to you. Now you have a time limit of the offer on this counter. So they have to sign now before that counter goes back. So hopefully this helps you out with understanding the contracts. Again, don't practice real estate law. We're not attorneys. Don't just take, hey, an amendment's good, we're all good to move forward. No, just do a fresh offer. If this is expired, have everybody sign within the time limit of the offer. Don't let the sand run out of that hourglass. If you have any questions, comment down below. Or if you'd like to speak with me privately, help your real estate business get to the next level, book a call with me down below. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.